Hey, what's up you guys? Welcome back to my channel. It's me, True Brilliance, here with the Saturn Through the Houses series, back as promised. So you guys have been asking me for the 411 on Saturn, and I am here to give you guys all of the tea spill on this very mysterious, hard-working, back-breaking planet, okay? So when you first get into astrology, one of the main planets that you learn about is the planet Saturn. And Saturn actually incites a lot of fear in a lot of people, especially when you are just new to astrology. Everybody has a lot of fear around the planet Saturn, right? Because Saturn is known to represent limitations, hardships, blockages, and all of those things that we kind of don't want to deal with. So Saturn is a planet about maturity. And to be all the way honest, the people that have the most problems with Saturn are people that have not fully matured in life, or you haven't exactly set up your structure in life. And that's exactly what Saturn is trying to get us to do. Saturn is trying to get us to structure our lives and get our shit together. But what I want to talk to you guys about today is the fact that Saturn is not all bad. It's not all doom and gloom. Saturn is actually helping us. It's just the way that it trains us and the way that it gives us wisdom can sometimes be a little bit harsh, okay? So when looking at your Saturn placement, make sure you look and find what house Saturn is in. So I do believe that the sign that Saturn is placed in is very important, but the house that Saturn is placed in is going to show the area of life that you are going to experience these limitations or perceived limitations in your life, okay? And it's very important to know where your Saturn placement is, because this is the area of life that you may struggle a lot. And some people can feel like they're cursed in this area of life. It's usually an area of life that you feel very insecure about, or you don't feel as confident in this area of life, usually because you've had a lot of setbacks or you've had a lot of things not turn out in your favor in the house that Saturn is in. So the house that Saturn is in can kind of make us feel a little bit insecure about ourselves. And that's why it's so important for you to learn about your Saturn placement and learn, most importantly, what it is that you can do to fix this, okay? And to combat these feelings of insecurity and inadequacy that Saturn can cause. So a few key things to know about your Saturn placement. Saturn rules time, okay? It rules time. So it takes time for Saturn's energy to come into its full fruition. So whatever house that your Saturn is placed in, that is a house that you can be a late bloomer in life, okay? So if you have like Saturn in the 7th house, you may not find a harmonious relationship until you get older in age. If you have Saturn in the 2nd house of finances, you may not get the money that you want or that you feel like you deserve, or your earning power may not really kick in until later in life, okay? If you have Saturn in the 5th house, the house of fun and entertainment, you may not really start to enjoy yourself and kick back and relax and let your inner child out until you get older in age, okay? So from my experience, Saturn doesn't really come into its full maturation until about 40, okay? So wherever I see Saturn in somebody's chart, I usually tell them you can expect for things to start working properly or you to be in your full stride when you get in about your 40s. Now, people don't want to hear this. People do not want to hear this, but I'm always honest with people, because a lot of people wonder why things haven't happened for them in the area in the house that Saturn is in. And it's because Saturn is there, and Saturn is slow time. It's gradual, it's step by step, it's painstaking. Okay, take it from Capricorn moon, it's painstaking. So it takes a while for you to learn the lessons and gain the wisdom that Saturn is trying to teach you in that area of life. And usually it's accompanied by a lot of trials and tribulations. Yes, so trying things, them not working out, you having to fall on your ass and you having to redo it, start all over again, start from scratch, okay? So the house that Saturn is placed in, that may be an area of life that you may feel that you fail a lot, or you just cannot get it right for some reason. It's really like a thorn in your side. But what you are doing is you are gaining mastery in that area of life. You are learning to become the master of that house. So start looking at it in that respect, because once you do achieve success, which is what Saturn's all about, once you do achieve success in the house that Saturn is in, you will be the master of it. You will sit at the top of the mountain. You will be the person that knows everything from A to Z about that house. And then you can actually take your knowledge and teach other people about that house. That's how good that you're going to be at that house. Few key things about your Saturn placement. It is an area of life that you need to gain maturity, okay? A lot of the decisions that you make in that area or in that house may not be the most mature. It's an area of life that you need to gain maturity in, and that you need to gain wisdom, because you may not know enough about that area of life and you need to gain more understanding about it. You're going to experience blockages in the house that Saturn is placed in, and you're not gonna know why. It's going to be an area of life that you're going to continue to try to succeed, but you keep on getting knocked down, and it can be very frustrating in that area of life. But it's usually something that you want really, really, really bad. You're also going to have to do hard work in that area of life. So things are not going to come easy to you in that area of life that Saturn is placed in. You're going to have to work for it, and you're going to have to work hard for it. You may also have to make some sacrifices in the area of life that Saturn is placed in, okay? And when I'm saying area of life, I'm speaking of the house placements, because the house placements represent different areas of life. So that's an overview of all the houses, okay? So we are going to go ahead and get into the Saturn placement. Okay, so now we're going to be talking about Saturn in the 10th house. Now, I think this is a really good placement, but one of the things that you guys have to know, and I'm just going to talk about this straight off the bat because it's something that you have to know. Success, like real success, the success that you're looking for in life may not come to you until later in life, okay? Probably like your late 30s, 40s. The real success that you're looking for, not like just small wins, but I'm talking about that big success, probably isn't going to come to you until later in life, because Saturn is a slow moving energy. And I know Saturn in the 10th house people are very, very ambitious people. And I know that sometimes you guys can be very impatient, but when we're talking about Saturn, we're talking about a step-by-step, painstaking, slow rise to the top. Saturn is rarely a quick rise to the top of the mountain. It's always methodical, very sure-footed steps to the top. Jupiter is a fast rise to the top. So if you have Jupiter in the 10th house, it's usually a quick expansion. But Saturn usually doesn't work like that, okay? Saturn in the 10th house, very, very hardworking people. So you guys, a lot of the times, can feel like you get worked to the bone, like you guys work so hard. And you guys can also feel like you guys work a lot, but you get little to no recognition, especially earlier in your life. Like you may feel like you work so hard, you're like the best employer up in that place, and you may gain promotion and stuff very, very slowly, or it may be hard for you to rise up to the next level. A lot of the times that's because Saturn wants you to be your own boss and be your own CEO, because you are very well equipped to do that if that's something that you wanted to do, because you have the power and the know-how to do it. Somebody with Saturn in the 10th house, you can easily run your own corporation, run your own village, like be in charge of a lot of people, because Saturn in the 10th house is very good with management, being able to manage large bodies, large groups of people. So you guys are definitely like overseers. So don't doubt your abilities to be able to be on top. You know what I mean? Depending upon what else you have in your chart is going to determine if you want to be in a leadership position or not. But generally, if you have Saturn in the 10th house, you were born to be a leader, and also you were born to be in an official position in life. So to be an official, like to be an official. So what's an official? Official is like a president, a prime minister, a CEO, a business tycoon, you know, a mogul, things like that, like somebody that has some type of official title in life. So status is something that's going to play a huge role in your life. Most likely if you have Saturn in the 10th, you want to attain a very high social status in life, and you want to be seen as somebody important, somebody that is to be taken serious. You want accolades on your name. So when people mention your name, they know that you are VIP, a very important person, okay? You were born a person. Now, I just want to kind of single out, I know I usually don't do this with these, but I do kind of want to single out Saturn in Capricorn in the 10th. You guys are having your Saturn return right now, and this is like triply, quadruply, no, those aren't words, but I'm trying to emphasize here. You guys are like definitely what I'm explaining times 10. Okay, because you have Saturn at home completely. But Saturn is also at home in the 10th house. So Saturn feels very, very comfortable here. But yes, Saturn is going to put you to work. So you guys are gonna have a lot of pressure upon yourself. You guys are usually the type of people that can handle juggling a whole bunch of things at one time. And you can get very stressed out with this position, you know, because you can just feel like you always have so much on your plate. Learn to take a vacation, okay? Learn to take a vacation. Learn to chill out when you need to chill out. Do not overwork yourself, which is kind of like talking to a brick wall to a Saturn in the 10th house, because you guys, you're like, what? Don't work? Like working is like breathing to me. Now, it does depend what sign that you have Saturn in the 10th house, because like if you have Saturn Aquarius in the 10th house, you're not going to be as eager about working as somebody that has Saturn and Taurus in the 10th house is going to definitely be a workaholic. Saturn and Virgo in the 10th, definitely a workaholic. You know, somebody that has Saturn and Cancer in the 10th, not so much, right? Because you need to work on the home and family. But whatever sign that Saturn's in your chart, you are looking to build structure within that sign. So you need to structure the energy of that sign. A lot of people, this is kind of like going kind of in left field a little bit, but on a more personal level, people that have Saturn in the 10th house, you're dealing with the father archetype with this energy, because the 10th house, Saturn represents the father archetype. Now, I really don't like to use gender roles to describe, like I kind of don't like the fact that Cancer is referred to as the mother and Capricorn is referred to as a father, right? Because of course we have women that have Capricorn energy and they're not fathers. And we have men that have Cancerian energy and they're not mothers. So I like to use nurturer and disciplinarian, okay, to describe it. So people that Saturn in the 10th house, you could have grown up having a lot of issues with authority figures, or you may have even grown up in a very controlling environment. You may have had an actual very controlling father. The parent that was the disciplinarian in your life could have been very, very controlling, because the disciplinarian can be the mother or the father. I've definitely seen reverse roles where the father was the nurturer and the mother was the disciplinarian. I've seen that in my own family. So yeah, it's like whoever the parent was who disciplined in your household, you could have had issues with that. You could have bumped heads or had problems with authority. Or like I said, you could have grown up in a very controlled environment having Saturn in the 10th house, where it's like you had to be on the straight and narrow. You couldn't do anything wrong. It can kind of be like growing up in boot camp, growing up with a drill sergeant, you know, in the home, where you may have felt very limited, you know, in your childhood, or you had to take on a lot of responsibility at a young age. So when you have Saturn in the 10th house or Saturn in Capricorn, your life is kind of very similar to being an actual Capricorn, where you have to take on responsibility young and you feel like you have to grow up very fast. But you guys are very, very mature people, you know, and you do have maturity on your side. So you naturally are an authority in your life and in other people's lives. So people listen to you. This is why I say you guys make very good CEOs, business owners, things like that. And a lot of you guys can tend to age backwards too, because you guys got that Capricorn vibe going. So, you know, the earlier part of your life could feel very restrictive. And then as time goes on, as you get older, you may gain more freedom. Also, you're kind of learning to become your own parent, because a lot of people have Saturn in the 10th house have to learn how to parent themselves. So you're kind of learning to become your own parent and become the own authority in your life. So, you know, taking back control of your life, especially if your life felt out of control, and kind of bringing up some type of structured system that you can operate in, because you're the type of person that needs structure for your sanity. If you don't have a sense of structure, things can feel very chaotic in your life, and that's not good for somebody that has Saturn in the 10th. Your public reputation, your public image is always going to be something that's going to be on your mind, something that you're always going to worry about. You want to be seen as somebody that is respectable in the public eye. Depending upon what aspect Saturn's making to other planets, you could be infamous, you could be famous, because Saturn in the 10th can definitely bring fame, or it can bring recognition. It can bring a lot of rewards to you for your hard work and things like that. So people have Saturn in the 10th, I look at you guys as being leaders of society, you know, being people that are role models in a lot of ways. And I know some of you are like, I don't want to be no damn role model, but you were kind of born in an official position where you were born to lead. You were born to lead, and you were born to set an example. And Saturn has been training you and preparing you for that since birth. It's like you've been getting prepared for something. A lot of you guys come into this life knowing that you have a big purpose and you have a big calling on your name. And a lot of people that have Saturn in 10th house, you guys can be very spiritual as well, because I always attribute Capricorns to being very spiritual. Not all of them, of course, but a lot of Capricorns have a spiritual purpose behind their life, and they believe very strongly in having a purpose, that they came here to accomplish something. And so most of the time you guys are born with that type of mentality, that it's like you're here on a mission, you're here to accomplish something. And it may have a spiritual basis behind it, or it may not have a spiritual basis, but you feel deep down inside that you were born for greatness, you know, and you were with Saturn in the 10th house. But it's not easy. You will most likely go through a lot of trials and tribulations, a lot of setbacks, a lot of tears, a lot of hardship. You know, life may be a little bit harsher on you guys than it is for other people, but that's because, of course, it's not trying to build character within you and make you a strong, resilient person, so that you can deal with the public when it comes time to the public. Because what happens when celebrities, or, you know, not even celebrities, just people get put into high positions, people get put into high positions in life, and they crack under pressure. They can't handle all the strain of being in the public eye or being a public figure. And it's like you're being groomed to become a public figure, and you have to have tough skin to be a public figure. You can't be a weak person, because people are going to tear you down. You're going to be the subject of conversation. There's going to be things printed about you. There's going to be things said about you. And you have to be able to take scrutiny and, you know, things that people say that may not be that nice, or just people that don't like you, you know. So you have to build that tough, thick skin. So that's another reason that Saturn's really hard on you guys with Saturn in the 10th. Just look at it as it's preparing you for your future. Okay, so if you guys have this aspect, or if you guys have this placement, put it down below. Have a chat with everybody else in the comments and talk about what this placement is like and what your guys' experience is. Okay.